Enough fidgeting, you look beautiful.
Natty looks at her nervously wringing hands and puts her own palm on top of them, stopping the frantic movements.
You are beautiful. Sebastian is a lackey man.
With the tip of her pinky, Natty untucks a small strand of her immaculately done-up hair. It falls down to frame her face, curling softly at the end. Natty.
That looks even better. You are too uptight when all the little hairs are put away.
Uptight might be the word she is thinking of most tonight. Despite her better judgment, she asks Samantha to help her lace down her corset. Just a bit. And a bit more. Usually she avoids doing so, it's just not comfortable. Instead of a secure and warm hug moulded around her torso, it is causing her to stand very straight, very properly, and breathe only through the top of her lungs. But it's only for a few hours. She can handle a bit of discomfort for a short time, all in the name of fashion and beauty.
Ladies.
Both of them spin around to find Sebastian Sallow, Hogwarts' resident chief troublemaker, the most detained student of the year, and one of Anna's closest friends and confidants. He flashes a charming smile and bows. His usually unruly hair is smoothed and combed into place, probably with the help of whatever pomade or potion Ominis is using on his own hair, and he looks every bit a gentleman she knows he can be.
I'm going to find my own partner.
Natty winks at her, causing Anna to once again fidget with her gloved hands.
Don't get into too much trouble.
Don't worry, Natsai. Only ministry-approved levels of trouble tonight, I promise.
Natty flutters away, brilliant in her white and red gown. She heard that Professor Onai wanted her daughter to dress in a more traditionally Ugandan attire, but Natty had put her foot down. She didn't want to stand out too much from her peers, she said. Anna thought someone as bright as Natty always stands out, no matter the choice of clothes. Her own gown is of royal blue silk, the skirt fashionably smooth over her hips and flaring out into a full bell shape in the back. It isn't adorned with anything but delicate embroidery of various constellations. Anna had to actually kick Amit away to stop him from stepping on her train. Her Ravenclaw friend was too enamored with deciphering various star clusters, depicted with stunning accuracy on the silk. Modest jewellery and sprigs of fresh flowers from the greenhouse in her hair. Professor Garlick didn't mind her request at all. Complete the ensemble. Sebastian covers her gloved hand on his elbow with his. Looking up at him, she can't stop her heart from beating high and hard in her throat. He looks at her like she hung the stars and the moon in the sky. Beside them, Imelda Reyes makes a gagging noise.
Oh, grow up, Imelda.
I'd have thought Ravenclaw hair had more sense. Or better taste. Intellect doesn't equal wisdom, does it, Visconti?
Imelda, I'll bring my time down by another 5 seconds if you don't stop now.
Oh no, you won't.
On all the courses.
Pah! I'm looking forward to seeing you try, Ravenclaw.
I am the one with the bird on my house's crest, Slytherin.
The usual plays?
You bet. Tomorrow noon. Sebastian watches the exchange with an amused expression.
Is there another courtship in your life I don't know about?
Anna laughs, shaking her head. Flying is Imelda's only love.
Quidditch is my only love. But in its absence, flying will have to do.
She shudders at the sudden touch of fingers on her bare shoulder. Sebastian brushes off a fallen petal from her skin. It must have gotten loose when she shook her head, her mind helpfully supplies. Her heart, meanwhile, screams at her mind to stop thinking already. His touch lingers, tracing her collarbone. She gasps softly, her eyes fluttering closed. She can feel the heat radiating off him so close. Her hands smooth the fine woolen fabric of his lapels before curling her fingers under them.
There you two are. This crowd is disorienting. Too much movement, too much sound.
You sound like you regret ever crawling out of the dungeons.
Already do. Not like I have any reason to even be here. I don't have a partner.
You don't? She raises an incredulous eyebrow. Ominis is a handsome and witty boy. Why would he have any issues?
You turned them all down, didn't you?
The type of girl I tend to attract is either in for my money or my pure blood lineage. Not one of them is there for just myself. I'd rather be standing at the wall by my lonesome, thank you very much.
I'll dance with you, Ominis. She marvels at her own sudden surge of boldness. Merlin, when did she join Gryffindor House? Natty must be rubbing off on her. Sebastian's eyebrows shoot up, and so do the Gaunt boys. It's not fair for you to mope around all evening, right, Sebastian?
Right.
Ominis' high cheekbones are tinged with gentle pink.
You came with Sebastian. I wouldn't dare to...
I'm offering Ominis as your friend.
My friend.
Sebastian exhales, and she can tell he is a bit disappointed, but...
If Anne were here, you would have a partner. But I don't mind sharing my date for a few dances, Ominis.
Oh, very well.
He gives in, sounding like he's the one doing them a favor. But there is relief in his body language, in the way his shoulders relax and his posture becomes less rigid.
Not the first few, however. I'll wait until there are fewer people to bump into.
Excellent. Anna puts a hand back on Sebastian's elbow, and Ominis gingerly rests his on the small of her back. Shall we go in? The great hall is sparkling with enchanted snow and festooned with all manner of garlands, trims, and winter greenery. She spies a small jam near the right side of the gallery, and sure enough, the mistletoe is strung along the passage. She deftly maneuvers her two escorts away to the other side of the hall, where the Slytherin table usually sits. Not that she would object to kissing Sebastian, or Ominis. Her mind supplies an inconvenient thought once again, and she wills it to stop before someone comments on her rosy complexion. Just not because of mistletoe, not with the hoots and whistles and cheering of their classmates all around. Not like that. There is a gaggle of Slytherins loitering about their usual side of the hall, and she finds herself in the sea of green. Whistles and whispers still happen nonetheless.
Menage a trois?
Grace Pinch Smedley arches an eyebrow at them.
Is that why you declined to come with me, Gaunt?
Ominis soundly ignores her remark, but his hand tightening into a fist at Anna's back tells her he is not unaffected by it. Sebastian rolls his eyes and makes his way towards the wall in the back.
Ugh, some people.
Yes, she responds, her free hand coming up to squeeze Ominis's forearm in reassurance. Are you all right? His smile is only slightly brittle.
I'm quite used to it, Anna.
Not Visconti this time?
If you prefer, I can go back to it.
I'd rather not.
Good.
Ominis finds the wall of the hall and rests against it, and she can tell he wants to let out the biggest sigh in the world, but one does not do that in polite society.
Attention, please!
Here goes nothing.
All three of them lean against the wall as their illustrious headmaster indulges in one of his favourite pastimes, listening to himself talk.
A time-honored tradition of our ancient institution.
Do you even know how to dance, Muggle-born?
It's one of the Slytherin prefects. Anna never caught her name, and the older girl looks her up and down. She can tell that another nastier moniker was dancing on the tip of her tongue, but the murderous look Sebastian gave her, along with the silent but icy presence of the gaunt scion, made the girl think twice. Better than you do, country bumpkin. She responds with an imperious glare, head held high as befits an eagle. The girl's dress is at least 15 years out of date with that crinoline and wide Bertha collar. Anna, meanwhile, lived in the beating heart of London for most of her life. She may not be of noble blood, but the Muggle side of her family is rather well off and on the up and up.
You arrogant mudblood!
She is cut off abruptly by the swish of Sebastian's wand. The girl's eyes bulge, but no more sounds come out of her throat.
If you're nice about it, I'll even take the charm off, Caro.
A silent silencio? Well executed.
Megara Caro, was it?
Ominis rests both of his hands on Anna's shoulders, ignoring the small shiver that runs down her spine at the sudden contact, his unseeing gaze fixed somewhere above the squat girl's head.
You would do well to not make an enemy of me by insulting my friends.
Expect you all to behave as proper young men and women, as futile as that hope may be.
Caro stomps away, her dress swishing angrily. Sebastian turns back to Anna, eyes twinkling with mischief. He takes her hand, gently tugs on the tip of her long glove and slips it off her arm. Sebastian! Shh! He lifts her bare hand to his lips and plants a small kiss on her knuckles. The throng of students all around them provides ample cover for such blatant impropriety. Meanwhile, Ominis hasn't removed his hands from her shoulders, and his long thumbs slowly, but very intentionally, draw small circles on her exposed skin. If this continues any longer, she might just faint like a sodding ingenue. It's difficult enough to breathe when she's laced down, but this...
What our dear headmaster is trying to say in so many words, let the dance begin.
Morgana and Merlin and all the Knights of the Round Table. Bless Professor Weasley for saying that. Anna lets out a shaky breath and snatches her glove from quietly laughing Sebastian.
Shall I have the first dance, my dear?
I've half a mind to steal Gareth Weasley from whoever he showed up with. She extricates herself from between the two boys while tugging her glove back on. Ugh, the pair of you.
Go on, I'll be waiting here.
With an elegant bow, Sebastian offers her his hand. She takes it with a small curtsy, and he leads her over under the floating candles and enchanted ceiling. Instruments come to life at the flick of... Is that Ernie Lark? The conductor's wand. Not a village band this time. It's the hundreds-year-old priceless relics often seen playing in the Defense Against the Dark Arts Tower, and she had no idea her musician friend knew how to conduct a classic waltz. She knew Sebastian could dance. There was something about the way he moved during duels, the practiced ease in the way he sidestepped and flicked his wand with a theatrical flourish. Their little date at Hogsmeade a couple of weeks ago proved as much, but she had no idea he could dance. Anna has been taught how to dance since the day she could walk. It was something important to her father, and later to her aunt and uncle. They hoped to marry her off to someone of higher social standing, and to not embarrass her future husband, she had to be able to play the role she was groomed for. To sing and dance and keep a conversation, to be a proper young lady. A worthwhile bargaining chip. But what once seemed like an inescapable destiny turned out to be nothing more but a mirage in the desert. She would not live that life, the fate her cousins now embark on. Instead, she was whisked away to a world that gave up on her when she was but a child. Sebastian leads her across the ancient floor with amazing grace and fluidity, guiding her with the smallest of touches and pulls. She understands the language of his body, recognizes it and smiles, as it is something shared between the world she grew up in and the one she joined. He keeps an excellent posture, and his left hand doesn't stray from the level of her shoulder blade, but the back of her dress lowers pretty much to the level of her corset, so his fingers caress her skin with every step. Scandalous. The small smirk and the darkness of his eyes tell her he knows it. The push and pull of the dance and the flow of the music carry them in the torrent of people across the floor in a wide arc. But there is no one else to see. The colourful gowns the girls are wearing and the smart suits on the boys are nothing but a backdrop to the two of them, twirling away. She finds it more difficult to catch her breath than normal. It's her tighter-laced corset, no doubt. She wanted to look beautiful tonight. Reach for that ever-elusive perfection, despite her still-growing body and all the pains and awkwardness of adolescence. Everyone is doing it. But now she finds she didn't need to do any of it. Reflected in Sebastian's dark eyes, she sees herself as he sees her, the most beautiful girl in the room. As the songs and dances continue, the crowd slowly begins to thin out. Some people congregate by the canapes, and some rest from exertion, especially the girls, many of whom Anna suspects laced their corsets down just like she did. But her battle-honed stamina, even with slightly restricted breathing, allows her to stay on her feet. Sebastian eventually leads her to the side of the hall.
I need something to drink, love.
He leaves a brief but scorching kiss on her cheekbone.
I'll get some for the both of us. You should entertain Ominis, though. I think he's getting a tad restless.
Anna glances at the tall boy, still standing just as they left him. How can you tell?
His foot is tapping the rhythm of the song. I'll be back shortly.
With more trepidation than she expected, Anna approaches her friend. She wonders if she should speak up or cough to let him know she is back, but his head turns towards her before she comes to a decision.
You're back.
How did you know? Ominis recognizing people by the sound of their footsteps is not unusual, but the hall is still so very loud. Music, chatter, the clinking of glass and cutlery. It is a sea of sound. His hand comes up to the level of her cheek with surprising accuracy. Cool, long fingers smooth over the strands of hair and touch the gentle sprigs of lily of the valley.
The scent of flowers.
But many girls have flowers in their hair tonight, Ominis.
Ah, but only you chose those.
He wrinkles his nose in disdain, something that fits his aristocratic features all too well.
I despise roses and common lilies. The smell is too intense, and it shows a clear lack of imagination.
I cannot imagine how you stand the potions classroom.
That is a reason I never excelled at the subject.
They stand in silence for a moment or two, the awkwardness at the sudden shift in their relationship tonight too difficult to navigate. So, instead of words, she takes his hand in hers and pulls him towards the dance floor. A lot fewer dancers now. You shouldn't have much trouble.
But it would mean more eyes on you. If you'd rather...
Then let them see. I feel rather stunning tonight. Ominis' fingers untangle from hers and glide along the silk of her dress, pausing at the embroidered stars.
I dare say you are right. For what that is worth coming from a blind man.
His suit is sharply cut. Pure, deepest black, with only a silver lapel pin in the shape of a snake indicating his allegiance. The emerald set as its eyes twinkle under the light of candles. The dancers change as some step out and some, like Anna and Ominis, step in. She rests her palm on his shoulder as he takes her left hand in his. He is much taller than her, noticeably taller than Sebastian. She has to crane her neck to look at him. Of course, his pale eyes are fixed somewhere above her head. She briefly wonders how this is supposed to work, and why hasn't she asked before, but the instruments come to life, and Ominis takes a confident step. He definitely practiced many, many times before, as is probably expected from someone born into such a family. His grace is not like that of Sebastian, who dances his way across the battlefield, agile and deadly. It is much more learned, drilled into him, to the bone and blisters and probably tears at some point. She has to pull at him a bit as they approach the edges of the ballroom, to let him know they are about to walk too close to the columns or the tables, treacherously set in unfamiliar configurations. He responds with ease, sidestepping and spinning her in his arms with a flick of his wrist like he intended for this to happen all along. Anna can see the envy on the face of Grace Pinch Smedley. She likes Grace, but she wouldn't trade places with her for even a second, as they swoop past her in one of those maneuvers. Her mouth is dry, and where has Sebastian gone with the refreshments? But she does not complain, instead choosing to enjoy the evening slowly turning into night. As the music takes a pause, she spots the dark-haired boy with glasses of juice in his hands. With a small tug, she indicated that she'd like to go that way, and Ominis follows, his fingers still interlaced with hers. Thank goodness.
You look like you need a breather. So much for the Troll Slayer endurance, huh?
It's the damn corset. She fans herself with her hand, quite ineffectively. Sebastian smiles as he offers her a red and gold silk fan. She eyes it suspiciously. Where did that come from?
Pinched it off one of the tables. Whoever the owner is, they weren't using it.
Sebastian.
I'll return it in a moment. You looked like you needed it more.
She certainly did. And well, the fan is in her hand already. She flicks it open and flutters it at her face. She must be very flushed from all the dancing and... well, that line of thought is not helping her cool down.
Speaking of the corset...
Sebastian's eyes are laughing and devious, and his smirk is predatory.
You seem so uncomfortable. Might you want some help in loosening that?
Ow! Bloody hell, that hurts.
Be civil, Sebastian. At least pretend to act gentlemanly, would you?
I jest.
It didn't seem that way, but Sebastian brushes it off as if nothing happened. The hungry shadow in his eyes gone as fast as it appeared.
May I have the next dance, my lady?
You may. They step back into the music. Each time the melody changes, the boys trade places, graciously passing her hand to the other with a curt bow, and she dances the night away, breathless and enchanted.